Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. Here with attorney Shannon Salmon-Haas and Kathya Reppart, talking about Kilates Coffee, the coffee industry, coffee law, and coffee legacy. Before the break, we were talking about Kathya's background, and she said that if you want to start a company, you solve a problem. And so I wanted to ask you, Shannon, when you decided to go to law school and be a lawyer, is that what you were thinking? Were you thinking, I'm going to solve a problem for myself and I'm going to solve a problem for other people? Or was it something totally different?
I think I have an answer that's on point with your question, because I always wanted to help people, and I thought being a social worker would be a good way to do that. So I was sitting in my little government office handing out Medicaid and food stamps, and people would come in and they would say, well, my husband was providing, but he got deported. You know, the van came by, and now I have all these kids, and I would hand some food stamps. Mm-hmm. And then someone would come in, well, I had a job at Burger King, but my boyfriend keeps coming by, so the manager says I can't have this drama here. I'm going to have to let you go. Well, I thought, well, she needs a protective order, and the lady with all the kids, her husband needed a green card. So I started thinking, all these little Band-Aids I keep giving out with the welfare and the food stamps, all these little Band-Aids, they're never going to help. What they really need is a legal solution to the problem. So that's when I first started thinking about it. I also had like a really horrible personal experience where I needed a lawyer, and I kept calling around and everyone said $10,000. And this is way back in the day.
Wow.
So, and I just, I can't find a lawyer, I think I should become a lawyer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, God's really good, huh?
Yeah, you were needing a lawyer, so you were like, I'm going to become a lawyer.
Well, there was a point, I hope it's not a flex, but I know I shouldn't use words like that, right? But I know I hope I'm not bragging, but there was a point in my life a while back where I thought, everybody I know is either a judge or a lawyer, like my entire circle. And there was a time when I couldn't get a lawyer to call me back in this town unless I had $10,000.
Yeah.
So I give all the glory to God, because
Amen.
God is amazing.
Praise God.
Yes.
Okay, we want to go back, Kathya, to the problem that you were trying to solve. Shannon wanted to know, explain in as much detail as you can, what was it like when you came to the U.S. and you had your first cup of coffee?
It was interesting. I remember that it was...
Did you make a face?
Probably. But, you try to be nice, And usually if you think about it, coffee, it's such a social interaction.
Right.
It's a social
It is, yeah.
tool, let's call it. So in a lot of cultures, when you go visit them, they always welcome you with a coffee.
Let's have a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So I was just, trying to be thankful.
Was it in someone's house, like a social situation?
It was more like in an office.
And they were offering you the best that they had.
Exactly.
And you were like, ugh.
And, and at the time, it's been a while back. So at the time, I was used to that in a way, because I will visit a lot of offices and you will just drink what they had,
Mm-hmm.
Now I travel with my coffee. That Shannon thought it was super funny.
Check it out on Instagram.
Cool.
Shannon posted this video that's super awesome.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. One thing I think is age, but also I feel is that if I have a coffee business, why would I drink bad coffee?
Right.
I was telling Shannon, I have a coffee lab. I don't have a coffee setup.
I love it.
I have a lab. Because when I try the coffees that I'm going to buy for the portfolio, I have to roast them. So you have to have a special roaster for it. This is a small roaster. then you need to have something to weight the coffee, because it has to be a certain amounts of grams depending on how you're tasting the coffee. So that's an accumulation of things.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Tell us what we're about to taste now.
So
You brought
today,
us this.
Yes. Today I brought our pink bourbon, which is our bestseller for the second year in a row. So this is what I like to call the introduction to exotics, because we sell only high specialty. Let me explain you a little bit of specialty. So in coffee has a score. I want to see Todd's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What do you
good.
think? Yeah, it's very different.
Smooth.
Yeah, because coffee is supposed to be smooth.
And I have a question about water. If it,
I will. I'm sure. Yeah, and it's important. It's important water. So coffee goes on scores like wine. So when it's a specialty coffee, it needs to be a certain number when it comes to the score, right? So I only sell what is considered exceptional. I don't sell. I do sell.
Sweet mother of all things holy, that is amazing. I thought I was a coffee snob and that I made really good coffee. That you were right, what you were
Yes.
saying before. It's like next level.
So
Next
go
level.
to kilatescoffee.com.
Do you dare to tarnish this with cream and sugar?
No. But you know what? I love living by this philosophy. That is the best coffee in the world is the one that you like. Like not putting any judgment, not putting any on it. However you like it, that's the best coffee, the one that you like.
What is that?
Yeah.
Well, tell us
it's
what
so
that is.
rich.
Yeah, that's the pink bourbon.
It's not a
Yes,
coffee
bourbon.
flavor.
No.
It's
It's
you've
the notes.
redefined coffee.
Thank you. That's what I think, and I consider that we're doing. This is so different because this is specialty. So not everyone sells specialty, and we're gonna go, a little further into that. But specialty, it's a certain number. It's a high, so it's already high specialty, and mine are exceptional. So I specialize in exotics. I bring fruit fermentations. Right now we have this Texas Hill Country inspired of coffee that was infused with peaches. It's not flavored. There's nothing artificial in this coffee. So, and it tastes just like peaches because just like nature, I believe that coffee is like when you go to a Michelin star restaurant, you need to have the best ingredients. Right? So this is exceptional coffee. That's why I like to call it, it's pure gold in every cup.
You're picky with the water too? Is it warm? Is it cold?
Is
does
it
temperature matter?
distilled or is it filtered?
Okay, so I love this question.
And
because
picky was a wrong word. Particular.
Yeah.
It's distinguished. Like
Well, when it comes to water, I always advise, right? If you can do spring water, you're safe. Just spring water, because it's something that is pretty normal, And also, depending on the machine, is more friendly with your machine too, especially on how water is so hard in Texas. So what that's going to make is that your machine is going to last longer. Now, I get this question all the time, and it's like, what is the best machine to make coffee? And the real answer is all of them. It's the bean that you're buying that makes a good cup of coffee. Like, it depends on your particular taste, because there are a lot of methods on how to prepare your coffee, right? For example, you can do a shot of espresso and then you pour some water, and that's an Americano, right? You can do a pour over a B60. That's another pouring method. And you can do just a regular coffee machine. And because you never stop learning about coffee, actually the drip method, the regular coffee machine is the one that extracts the highest amount of caffeine in a cup.
Okay.
wow.
So and so that's why when people tell me, the espresso, I like strong, because of course you want to enjoy the coffee, right? But the majority of us we also do it for the consequences of drinking coffee,
Right.
which is waking up.
Right.
You know,
You could put this in a mocha pot, or you would
Yeah.
recommend drip.
you can do any.
Is this the one we had?
No, the one that we have, it's a pink bourbon. Actually, is the one I brought for Todd. I don't have it here out.
Because this one says hints of molasses and
and
chocolate.
chocolate. Yeah, that one is more into the caramel side. And that's part of the classic line that we also offer for restaurants and coffee shops, because we also distribute to coffee shops.
That's the one that I was serving at my office, and one of the attorneys, he said, "This isn't bitter."
Yes.
And
Yeah,
that was
it's
the
not-
first thing that
it's
he
not
noticed.
bitter.
No,
Right.
and it doesn't upset your stomach either, because some people say that, other coffees, I don't know, because I haven't had, any other coffee. I travel with my coffee, like travel with my coffee. And so, but people say that, they get a tummy ache when they drink coffee. Mine doesn't do that. So that Colombian Regional is the one that I recommend to mix with milk.
Okay.
So that's the one that I strongly, it's delightful by itself, but if you want to add milk, because again, the best coffee is the one that you like. So who am I to judge and tell you, oh, it's just this or that? No,
Nice.
absolutely not. No judgment on that. But I can always recommend. That's why I call myself a coffee curator,
Yeah.
because I learn about your taste, and then depending on your taste, I'm going to be like, Todd, I think this coffee is good for you.
Oh my goodness.
I think you're going to like it, right?
It's a whole experience.
Yeah.
We're going to hear more about this, right?
Yes, of course.
Latinas in coffee.
Yes, Latinas in coffee, absolutely.
Tell
So,
us a little bit about the single origin. What does that mean, and why is that a good thing?
well, single origin, it means that your coffee comes from one source only, one farm only, and one variety only. What that means is coffee is kind of like wine, right? You have the Malbec, you have the Cabernet Sauvignon, right? So in coffee, we have the bourbons, we have the pink bourbons, we have the geishas, we have the Castillos, we have the Caturas, and so on and so forth. So I always like to make the comparison with wine, because wine is such it's a sibling of the coffee, production. And let me tell you why. All these notes that you're tasting is everything that grows around the coffee.
Okay.
Because everyone, when they read, I've had people who ask me, I am allergic to caramel. Is this going to give me allergy? And I'm like, no, that's the note. And it's because of certain altitude, coffee will develop more sweetness than others,
Interesting.
right? And so it's just a different
So
profile.
many more layers than I ever knew existed.
And so the coffee that you buy at the grocery store in the big tub, is that single source?
I don't know, because I don't know who is sourcing the coffee. Sourcing the coffee is very important, because coffee is one of the most toxic crops in the world, right? Like you need to be, I don't know, just to know where you're sourcing your coffee from. I was in this conference a couple months ago, and they were doing a talk, and there was this coffee producer talking about organic coffee and how it just, there's more layers of work that they need to do on the farm, but they know that they are producing good coffee, organic coffee that is good for people, and that they're not gonna get sick and whatnot.
All right. Well, we got to take another break. When we come back, we'll be talking about sinners and saints, and a little bit later after that, the legacy segment. So stay tuned. We got more to say.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the Ten Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.